Well, horror, it seems like you were drawn to the sexier side of things and you're always drawn to horror because I heard a few of your episodes where you had talked about like finding a Stephen King novel and I
Yeah.
feel all of us get had that and thank you for all these pop culture references because I feel so included. I have a staff that's like younger than me. I have grown kids. I'm never cool and I never get anything. And I'm like, oh my God, I so get what you're talking about.
It's so good. It's so the I host this show Vox Vomitus, and the women I host the show with, Trisha Ridinger McKee and Allison Martine, they're both other authors, and we're all roughly the same age of, like 40s ish.
I just turned 40 literally 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so we're between 41 and I think 44. I think is our little age bracket. So we get all the same pop culture references. And I think we did a whole episode when we talked about Flowers in the Attic, and we were talking about like Beverly Hills 90210 and like all these crazy things.
I listened to that episode and I was like,
Yes.
oh my God, I so know what you're talking about the covers of that book, about how like that book was so taboo and
It is
it,
so taboo.
yeah, so taboo.
Oh, so what's great is the people at Simon and Schuster, they felt bad that night because Andrew Niederman / the ghostwriter for VC Andrews did not show up for the interview, but it was just a miscommunication. So he's actually coming back next month on our show. But they're very sweet. They just sent me some face masks that have the Flowers in the Attic book cover on them. And I'm just like, this is my favorite thing that I've ever received in my life, is that it's that like old 1980s book cover of like the little blonde girl all scared on the front.
Wow.
So
And
good.
it's a mask, like a
Yeah, like a
quarantine
COVID
mask. I thought,
mask, a quarantine mask.
yeah, I was like, a beauty mask? And I was like, oh, duh, what a mask.
I
Thing
know.
we've been wearing all year.
A poor shrinking
I know.
mask.
I was like, poor shrinking the flowers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's and I love Vox Vomitus, meaning word vomit. I love that
Yeah.
you guys, the three of you, just celebrate the comedy of errors that is writing.
Somebody has to.
Well, yeah, it's funny, like the pop culture references I was getting, and then also, the fact that you three are all pantsers, and which
Yeah.
so relatable. And the other thing I would say is that just talking about things that go wrong, I feel like it makes authors just so human, so relatable,
It
and like, hey,
does.
we're not this perfect person that just went into that got a book deal.
I
So
know.
how the three of you, how did you guys come up with this idea together? Oh, and celebrate it
So,
every single week.
so we all are on a very similar path of our like publishing journey. So we all published our first book right around the same time, and we've never met in real life, but we met through different author groups, and we just sort of clicked. And so we were all writing another book at the same time, and we have a group chat that we just chat in all day. And somebody, I think it was Allison, said to me like, how's it going, everybody? And I said, oh, it's just word vomit, meaning it's my first draft. And she said, I feel like you've said that more eloquently in a different way before, saying it's just word vomit. And I was like, yes, because I like to say this is when I'm telling the story to myself. And then in my second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth drafts is when I'm telling the story to other people. But word vomit stuck. So every time we would talk to each other, we'd be like, are you writing, or is it vomit writing? We'd be like, no, it's still vomit writing, but or where you're just trying to get it out as much as you can. And so that stuck. And then Pam Stack, who's the executive producer at the Global Authors on the Air Network, she was talking to my husband and I about developing a show for their network. And I said, oh, can we call it word vomit? And she thought it was hilarious, and she's like, we can. But that was already copywritten. So we had to go through so many. We were like, okay, word vomit, vomit draft, the vomitorium, but everything was copywritten. And I don't know why I thought of like Hermione Granger, like doing a spell, like when she's like a da 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 da, like in Harry Potter. And I thought like Vox Vomitus, pew. And so I immediately messaged Pam. I'm like, is Vox Vomitus taken? And it wasn't. And that is how it happened. Yes. And I very meanly did not tell Trisha and Allison that we would be going live and on video every week. I just said, let's do a podcast. And they were like, yes, we would love that. And then like a week before, I was like, by the way, it's a video podcast. Too late to back out now.
And by the way, it's live. And by the way,
yeah,
it's live. We're just doing this. Yeah. No editing.
Which is why we started drinking a cocktail during the show. Cause like the first week we were so nervous. We were like, I just need a cocktail. And now it's just become a thing. The authors that come on are just like, they bring a cocktail, we drink cocktails. So
that's great. And yeah, but you're a performer. So how is like, I mean, you're a performer of burlesque who used to, undress and booty pop and whatever we do on hair whipping, and going and being nervous about podcasting. That's interesting. Cause I actually feel like before I go on stage, you're just shaking and like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. I don't get nervous on stage. I get my podcast, I don't get as nervous about anymore, but sometimes when it's an author I really, 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 really like, because we've been so lucky that we've gotten to talk to some of our favorite authors. So sometimes then I get a little like, I don't want to be a fangirl.
Yeah.
And just start crying when I see them.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That. Exactly.
And
so I'm like, be cool. Don't start crying because you're talking to Matt Ruff, writer of Lovecraft Country, or Paul Tremblay, who's written all of your favorite horror books, Carol Goodman, Wendy Webb, Diane Zinna, like all of these people that I just absolutely adore. And then they're on my show. In my head, it's like, be cool.
But that's the fun thing about podcasting too, like you get to meet all these people. And yeah, the fangirling thing is probably one of the worst mistakes I feel like people make podcasting. It's like, remember, you're here for a conversation, be classy or something, or just behave.
And I behave. Yes, it's behave. Because I'm such a fangirl. I used to go to comic book conventions and I would just dork out really, really badly to some of the artists and the authors. And I'm like, okay, I've grown up now. I'm confident. I've got burlesque confidence in me now. I don't have to fangirl as much. I still sometimes do. Sometimes in my initial email to them, I just get it. I get it out there. And I'm just like, I might cry when I see you. Just ignore it. If you show up 10 minutes early, it won't be live.
So come on time. Yeah.
So get there early.